I've heard that the floor asked for shrubs to be put in the common areas.
Yeah,
no,
right.
We will not let this slide because, like, when you
obviously
do that,
we'd put in some rocks too.
Oh, interesting. All rocks are my friends. I didn't know.
Now that's fucked up.
You dreamt of Dracula, you said? While we're on this sort of stuff, you heard of the Pied Piper? Well, in my dream, Pied Piper had toilet paper, one sheet of the cheap kind.
Yes.
And he took that and he ripped out a creme brulee and a little tiny pepper
Yes.
before he ate a tree. You didn't have that dream?
Yes, I did.
Okay, nope. Okay, you did not. Don't tell me you did. It's not true. You didn't never get to dream of the Pied Piper eating a tree. I mean, if you're telling me you dreamed that too. Then it wasn't as cool as my dream.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
What would shopping look like if you could walk into a store, grab what you want, and just go? Welcome to Amazon Go. No lines, no checkouts, no registers. It's really that simple. Take whatever you like. We call it Just Walk Out technology. Once you've got everything you want, you can just go. Amazon Go. No lines, no checkout. No, seriously.
And now, deep thoughts.
I've traveled over 140 countries around the world. I'll paraphrase the phrase of my own neighborhood. The rest of the countries, the world's not a patch on our genes. If we do what we want to do, we need to do.
Deep thoughts.
Kind of ironic that a white man is wearing a woman for Trump and a feminist for Trump.
Did you just assume my gender? You said white man.
Okay, I see your point.
How do you know I'm not a woman?
I see your point. I see your point.
You need to check your white privilege, your white female privilege.
Ooh, sick burn.
I identify as a man, but my pussy, that's a different story. When I'm on my menses, yikes, I've had to throw away furniture.
Nice. I see you're on one of those tough menstruations.
You know it, girlfriend. It's only 9 a.m., and I've already had to change my pants twice.
You need to try Manpack's Pearl Harbors. They'll sop up that canal in no time.
Manpack's Pearl Harbors? But are they safe and easy to use?
One of those things. Just use the smooth applicator to shove it up there. Or down your dick hole against God's will.
Wow. Thanks, Manpack's Pearl Harbors. You're the bomb.
Shit the bed! Think about why the recession got so bad 2 years ago.
I would love to hear this.
So would I.
Cars got so expensive.
Wait, what?
We didn't have semiconductors. Scores of them are in the engines of every automobile. We invented them. And then we went to sleep. We exported jobs.
You fucking retard.
There's clearly some dementia. He's not lucid.
Consequential. Not a joke. If I can halt for a second and just say to you, the impact, what happened on July the 6th, what happened on July the 6th had international repercussions beyond what I think any of you can fully understand. Not a joke.
You don't have to go to hell. You're in hell. This is hell. This is hell. This is hell.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
Then strangled them, and finally dismembered their bodies.
Right.
Then
available. And homelessness and all that.
And now, the voice you've been waiting for.
There is a secret song at the center of the world, and its sound Jesus through flesh. I'm here to turn off the volume.
I'm kind of retarded.
Well, here we are, 2023, a brand new year. Can't wait to see how this plays out. I took a couple weeks off for the holidays.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
But it is good to be back. We finished out last year with Zelensky traveling to the US to give his big speech and demand more money and more weapons. Meanwhile, the CEOs of Raytheon and Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman were all probably watching at home and furiously masturbating to the coverage. And it was a sickening moment when they unfurled the Ukrainian flag on the floor of the US House of Representatives. In a country like Slovakia, where national pride and patriotism isn't considered to be white supremacy, that kind of shit doesn't go over as well. In fact, it didn't go over at all. But here, oh sure, have some more money, take $47 billion more dollars, have some Patriot missiles, why don't you take some Bradley tanks while you're at it? And while this war is unfolding excruciatingly slow, it's like watching a car crash in slow motion. Things are slowly but surely escalating. Seems like the decision was made a long time ago by the military-industrial complex that this war was gonna happen, and ain't nobody gonna get in the way of it. Things have been kind of in a lull the past few weeks. Putin made a decree of a sort of ceasefire so that the troops could actually, celebrate Christmas, go to church, or what have you. It's also been unseasonably warm in Ukraine, and once the ground fully freezes over in the coming weeks, you might be about to see a major offensive. And meanwhile, back in the US, we had the Attorney General of the US Virgin Islands, which is where Jeffrey Epstein's pedophile island was located on. Little St. James Island was U.S. soil. Well, she filed a lawsuit against J.P. Morgan, stemming from the alleged dirty dealings that were going on between them and Jeffrey Epstein. And then what do you know, just days later, she gets shit-canned. And coincidentally, it just so happened that in the meanwhile, Joe Biden had come to town, for a vacation, of course. And the territorial governor of the Virgin Islands didn't even try to make up some kind of bullshit reason why he fired her. He just said, nope, gone. Just like the client list at Ghislaine Maxwell's trial. This shit involves too many people in too many high places of power for it to ever see the light of day. We've also had more attacks on the power grid, and in one case out in Washington State, they actually caught a couple of these dipshits. I love how they keep calling this vandalism. It's not vandalism, it's sabotage. You're attacking the grid to make the power go down. How is that vandalism? Like they spray painted a dick on the side of a transformer. That would be vandalism. But for some strange reason, they don't want to call this what it is. And then this past Wednesday, it happened in Vegas. This guy drives his car through a gate and then sets it on fire, damaging a whole bunch of shit and putting the plant out of commission. And what do you know, I haven't heard really any coverage in the news about this. An employee at the plant said the fire caused major damage, estimating it would take 2 years to receive replacement parts. Just in the past month, utilities have finally started raising alarms over how long it takes to replace these transformers now. Procurement times over a year. Takes a special kind of steel to make these gigantic transformers, and there's very few places where they actually produce it. I'm not talking about the little cylindrical transformers that you see on power poles. These things are like the size of shipping containers. So when you've got these pieces of equipment that take over a year to get replacements for, that can be damaged by any jackass with a car that wants to set it on fire, these attacks could end up being way more than just some kind of minor inconvenience. And we can expect to see more of it. We can also expect to see more of this. It's been a week now since, right on Monday Night Football, you had a player just drop and die on the fucking field, and right away, half the people were rushing to say, this is the fucking vaccine, and half the people saying, it's absolutely not the vaccine, it was this devastating hit. Now, there are plenty of hits in the NFL that happen, and all the people watching, ooh! This was not one of those. I would be very surprised if one single person watching that hit happen live reacted with, oh, damn! And then he pops up and then boom, dead. Fucking heart stopped. They did CPR on him for 10 minutes, restarted his heart, took him to the hospital, and now he's doing a lot better. I was surprised by that. I figured they'd try to wait a little while, let the story kind of die down, and then just declare that he's brain dead. But apparently he's a fucking fighter. Whether or not you think it was because of the vaccine or because of the hit, or maybe it was both, it really doesn't matter. This should be enough to where they should start looking at it at the very least, don't you think? At this point, they're really refusing to say whether or not he was vaccinated, but it's pretty safe to assume. Don't you remember Aaron Rodgers? And now all the same people that were going, you must disclose your vaccination status, are saying, how dare you inquire about somebody's vaccination status? The hypocrisy would be laughable if it wasn't so serious. And what about all the other athletes that have dropped in the past year? Many of them heart attacks, and many of them died. As far as I know, this guy was the only one who actually took a hit right before it. Most of them were soccer players. Some of them were marathon runners. They just had the New York Marathon where people were dropping like flies. I remember a few years back whenever Ryan Shazier got paralyzed in a hit playing for the Steelers, they showed the footage of the hit over and over again. And this one, they talk about it every day on the news, but they will not show the hit. Why? I think it's because it was pretty unremarkable. And when you actually watch it, does that look like a hit that will make your fucking heart stop? And even if you think the answer to that is yes, that sure doesn't explain all the other athletes, people in top peak physical condition, suddenly dropping with heart attacks. Or former players for that matter, like the former Jaguars guy. You know, the one that was calling for mandates, saying that, well, we should jail people that don't want to get it. Well, he died suddenly with a heart attack. Another amazing coincidence. And I'm sure his doctors are baffled. There's been a number of these too. Some of the very, very outspoken people against anti-vaxxers suddenly having heart attacks and dying. It's almost enough to make you believe in karma. Please consider liking, subscribing, sharing this video, or leaving a comment. Because every time you do nothing, Vladimir Putin will shoot another puppy. And of course, the other major story of this past week was the fight for the Speaker of the House. Now, one of the main reasons that we didn't see the red tsunami that a lot of people were expecting in the election was because these very people like McCarthy and McConnell and Ronna McDaniel, funny how they're all mixed, sabotaged a lot of races because they would rather have a slim majority than allow a bunch of these America First MAGA types in there. So they withheld a bunch of money from some of these key races, and what do you know? The only problem is a handful of the ones that made it through decided they would rather have somebody else for Speaker. The GOP tried to strong-arm them into voting for McCarthy, but they banded together and said, McNo! Meanwhile, as he's getting shot down and losing vote after vote, this arrogant son of a bitch went ahead and moved his shit into the Speaker of the House's office. And then they started parading all these blue blood, country club Republicans, all these fucking rhinos on Fox News, whining and bitching after 11 votes in 3 days and losing 11 times. You'd think the answer would be, okay, let's try somebody else. But no, they get up there and you had Dan Crenshaw, fucking Eye Patch McCain, calling these guys terrorists. Interesting word to use, fuckhead. And you had some of the people that were trying to pretend like they were America First for the 4 years under Trump. People like Trey Gowdy and Newt Gingrich coming out and saying, oh, they just need to get in line. They need to toe the line and fucking let us get back to work. Even had Turd Blossom himself, Karl Rove, weigh in. And the best was watching the deep state fuckhead Hannity go after Boebert, my favorite little congressional spinner.
With reaction is Congresswoman Boebert. Now, Congresswoman, you tweet, Town Hall quoted you today saying the president, you said complimentary things about President Trump, needs to tell Kevin McCarthy that, sir, you do not have the votes. It's time to withdraw. Let me turn the tables, Congresswoman. Kevin McCarthy has 203 votes. Your side has 20. So if I'm going to use your words and your methodology and your math, isn't it time for you to pack it in and your side to pack it in, considering he has over 200 and you have 20?
See, he offers up a false equivalency there. and then trying to act like they're doing it for selfish reasons to somehow, as McCarthy put it, to gain power that they didn't earn. Well, a lot of these people were re-elected and elected on platforms of saying fuck that guy. Literally in the election that just happened, they campaigned on fuck McCarthy and his stupid fucking face, and they won. So really, they are doing their job by saying McNo. But Sean Hannity got a call from his CIA handler and got told the play, and he got Bobes on there to try to badger her into changing her mind or looking stupid. But really, he just ended up showing himself for what he truly is, a self-important, imperious douchebag. And I've been warning people about him for years. This guy is not legit. He's a deep state puppet, controlled opposition, there to make it seem like they're really gonna try to do something about all the bullshit the blue team is doing, when really all they want is business as usual. One party carries the baton of tyranny and then passes it off to the other team, and neither one of them does a fucking thing about the other one. Oh, they'll talk a good game and make it seem like they're gonna, which is what McCarthy and his little underlings are doing now, saying, oh yeah, McCarthy is gonna spearhead these investigations. Bullshit. And Hannity fucking knows it too. Just because he spent 4 years with his tongue in Trump's asshole doesn't mean he's actually America first. Under a Speaker McCarthy, you aren't going to see shit change. It's going to be business as usual, and any investigations or hearings you do get is just going to turn into a Benghazi 2.0, where they make it seem like they're investigating shit, but it winds up being just an opportunity for people like Trey Gowdy to fucking grandstand and make some noise but do nothing. Which, as far as I'm concerned, is even worse than having no investigation or hearing at all, because then you're just going to have these people like Hannity have ammunition to say, look, we did an investigation and we found no wrongdoing. In the end, the 15th vote was the charm, and McCarthy still got in, but he had to give up a hell of a lot of concessions where in the first vote he was willing to give up nothing. Whether or not it ends up being meaningful in any way, only time will tell. But I have a lot of respect for these people that were willing to flex what muscle they did have, willing to face the possible retribution. At the high point, there was 20 of them that were willing to say no, but it really only started with 5. Just a handful of people were able to possibly make a difference. I gotta admit, I don't hold out a whole lot of hope that McCarthy is gonna pleasantly surprise me. I know Trump seems to think that he's gonna do a good job, and he convinced Marjorie Taylor Greene to go along with him. But he's fucked up a lot of times before. Just look at the shitheads that he had in his administration. People like Bolton and Bill Barr, Mike Pompeo. For all the things that he's gotten right and was smart about, he has a real weakness for trusting douchebags just because they kiss his ass. That was, is, and continues to be his biggest fucking problem. Slancha.
All I have in this world is my thoughts and my words, and I don't break them for no one. You understand? So say good night to the bad guy. Say good night to the bad guy. So say good night to the bad guy. So say good night to the bad guy. Come on. Come on.
with me! I told you! Don't fuck with me! You stupid fuck! Look at you now! Look at you now!